Hi. So I'm pretty certain I'm going to make some people very, very angry with me with this top 10 list because today I'm going to be talking about my favorite live action superhero movies. And I absolutely know that people are going to think I'm crazy based on my list here. So I'm going to tell you what it is in a moment. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for 20 plus years now. And today, again, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 live action superhero movies. The reason I just slipped up right now is just because I did do a top 10 superhero animated movies and a top 10 superhero animated TV series list. Today I'm going to be talking about live action superhero movies. Let's begin. My number 10, I don't have the DVD because it's on Netflix, so I could watch it anytime on demand. It's Captain America. Captain America. I love the trailer. I thought it was great. I couldn't wait to watch it, and I thought that it really paid off in the first half of the movie. Second half, not so much. The first half I loved. The turning of Steve Rogers into Captain America, all the way, all that stuff. It was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. One of the things I do like about Captain America is that he's a stand-up guy. He's a really good guy, and the way he comes across isn't cheesy. It's just honest and it's heartfelt, and you kind of root for him. He's got very down-to-earth values, but the reason why it's not higher is because the second half of the movie, it just seemed like, and then he became Captain America, and everything went awesome. The end. There wasn't really much of a movie once he became like completely accepted as Captain America. It was just like how awesome he is, and I don't know what it was. The Red Skull shows up and he's basically curses Captain America, you foiled me again, and it wasn't. It just there was nothing about it that was compelling after that. The second half for the second half of the movie. So, but it's really actually a lot very rewatchable in spite of that, and it feels good to watch it. It makes you happy. So my number 10 is Captain America. Ooh, here we go. Let's start pissing people off. My number 9 is actually Batman Dark Knight, the Chris Nolan movie. And why is this my number 9 and not like my number 1, right? That's the big question, and that is because it's so difficult to sit and watch this movie all the way through and not want to shoot yourself in the head. Of course, everybody knows Heath Ledger as the Joker is incredible. The story is actually really, really good. Very dramatic. It's fantastic. This is a really deep movie. It speaks to you. It has really strong themes. It's a great Batman movie, but it also feels so dark and so overbearing that it's really hard to just sit and watch it and enjoy it without wanting to slit your wrists. That's really the reason. The other reason why is that Batman here is really heavily compromised as a character at the end of this series, lying and cheating and becomes a cheat, and there's something about the ethics at the end of the story that just didn't ring true to me, which is going to be ironic because you're going to see what my number 3 is, and then I totally go and backpedal and excuse myself and make excuses later. So I understand that I'm going to contradict myself later on. So just bear with me. All right. So my number 9 is Batman Dark Knight. My number 8, and yes, I really like this movie. The Amazing Spider-Man, the new Mark Webb Spider-Man. I really thought that they actually captured Spider-Man much more in this than in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Yes, that's what you just heard me right. I did say that. It actually reminded me. This character reminds me more of the Ditko Spider-Man, very skinny guy who's kind of not the most likable person in the world because Steve Ditko and Stan Lee didn't really make a very likable Peter Parker. And it really came across this way. It was really reminiscent of that to me. That's what it felt like to me. He has mechanical web shooters, which makes him a scientific genius, which is actually part of the character. And I just, there's something about this that I like. And yes, it's a little dark, but it's also, he's more of a funny Spider-Man than all the other type of Spider-Mans. And he is a little bit of a jerk. And you know what? Spider-Man is a bit of a jerk. He is. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. He's my second favorite superhero. And I really liked the Amazing Spider-Man movie. My number 8. My number 7 I don't have. I want to own it, but I'm saving my pennies for now. And that is X-Men First Class. X-Men First Class is the only X-Men movie that I think really nailed it. I'm not a huge X-Men fan, but I actually really thought that X-Men First Class really captured, there was something about the way that the characters related, the interaction with the characters. You really liked the way they were together. You were rooting for them when they got together and they did their thing. I liked the era. It was 60s. It was kind of a spy kind of a thing going. It worked. I liked the feel of that movie. It's exciting. It nailed it. I think it really did do a good job of getting the X-Men right, more so than the other X-Men movies. So my number 7 is X-Men First Class. My number 6 is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, yes, I mean, it's still, as much as I liked Amazing Spider-Man, it's still not as good as Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 1 I thought was awful. I thought it was a lame movie. This movie actually was not. The relationship between Doc Ock and Peter Parker, that is what makes this movie. The whole Kiki's Delivery Service storyline in it. And you know how much I like Kiki's Delivery Service if you saw my top 10 Miyazaki movies. This is Kiki's Delivery Service with Spider-Man. He loses his powers, then he has to try to... It's really interesting. I really liked it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of really fun, good, exciting action in it. Dr. Octopus is a really good bad guy in this. Not cheesy like the Green Goblin was in the original in Spider-Man, the first one. I like this. Fantastic Spider-Man 2. My number 5 is something that I'm constantly raving almost against. I don't want to rave against it because I really do enjoy this movie, and that is Donner's Superman movie. This is the movie that all superhero movies keep copying. This is the movie that set up the genre of superhero movies. This is the formula that is copied over and over and over in different ways, even if it's told in different sequences. The superhero movies of today are basically retellings of this movie over and over and over. This is a great movie. Christopher Reeves, fantastic Superman. Very Silver Age Superman. Very happy, lighthearted. It captures the wonder and excitement, and the music in it is great. The relationship between Lois and Superman is fantastic. What can I say? It's just great. The cast is fantastic. The only thing, if anything, is that I think the bad guys are so comedic that they don't come across as dangerous to me. But it's excusable because the movie overall is deep and thematic and fantastic. There's a reason why everybody's copying this movie. My number 5, Superman the movie. All right, here we go. The next controversial movie on my list. I own the movie, but I have it at work, so I don't have anything to hold up. It's Batman Begins. Batman Begins. What can I say about Batman Begins? It's the best Batman movie ever made. I think it's better than Dark Knight, even though Dark Knight is deeper and the themes are deeper. Batman Begins is watchable over and over because it doesn't go so depressingly dark. It does really play up the danger of being Batman, what he has to go through to become Batman. There's something about it that really hits on so many levels. If you haven't seen it, you've got to watch. It's a must watch along with Superman, the movie. It's one of those must watch superhero movies. Batman Begins, my number 4. Here we go. This is where I stick my foot in my mouth and contradict myself from what I said about Dark Knight. My number 3 is Man of Steel. Yeah, Man of Steel, okay? I'm a huge Superman fan. So I liked this movie. I kind of wanted to like this movie, but it turned out that it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, though it had so much of what I wanted in it. That said, I really enjoyed the movie. It wasn't quite the Superman movie that the Donner Superman movie was. The Donner movie, you've got Superman in it. In Man of Steel, you really don't have really Superman in it. You kind of have, until the very end, it's kind of like the creation or the beginning of Superman, how he became Superman, how he's learning to be Superman. Even though he's got the suit on, he still doesn't know how to be Superman. His ethics aren't completely there because he's constantly fighting all these other forces. It's cheesy, it's got some plot holes in it, and there is a controversial element in it that kind of takes Superman to a different place where he usually doesn't go to, although you could arguably say that he does exactly the same thing in Superman 2, and that's where I'm backpedaling. Batman does something in Batman Begins that isn't very Batman-y. Well, Superman does something in Man of Steel that is not very Superman-ish. But it's a little bit different because in Batman Begins, you've got an established Batman as who he is as Batman, while in Man of Steel, you've got a character who's trying to become Superman and hasn't quite made the choices that he will eventually as a more mature, well-developed superhero. First of all, I think Henry Cavill is a great-looking Superman. I think he plays the character well. I like the cast. I like the action in it, specifically the action. It's a little dark. It's not as funny as I would have liked, but I think it's essentially still Superman. And I have an entire video as to why I like this movie. Maybe I should just shut up and let you all watch that one instead. If you want to see it, just find the link below on my blog. If you're watching this on my blog, you should be watching it on my blog because it's meant to be watched on my blog. Okay, so I'll shut up now. Let me go to my number 2. My number 2 is Iron Man. To be honest, I kind of watched Iron Man 2 more than I've watched Iron Man. Actually, if I was going to watch one of the two, either Iron Man or Iron Man 2, I tend to put Iron Man 2 in there because there's more action in it. But this is the movie that kind of set up like the Marvel Universe and the lightheartedness and it showed that you can go light and yet still be powerful and exciting and real without it having to go down Dark Knight movie territory. This is a fun movie. It's fantastic. It's the story is rock solid. It's while in Iron Man 2 not so much, which is the reason why this is in not the other one. So this is a great movie. I highly recommend watching Iron Man. When I left the theater, I was so pumped. This movie got me so pumped. It's so exciting. Like, it makes you want to be Iron Man. So my number 2 is the original Iron Man movie. My number 1, I don't own because it is on Netflix. But as soon as it's off Netflix, I'm gonna go buy it. And it is the Avengers movie. The Avengers movie. Joss Whedon directed it and wrote it and made it spectacular. It is fan service all over the place. It is fun. You leave that movie so like overjoyed and happy in like a geek haze. Like, yay, it's the Avengers. It's so exciting. You know, like there's something about watching that movie, it makes you actually really feel like you've read a comic book. So it's not dark and brooding, which a lot of people dislike about movies like Man of Steel and Batman. But this movie is very lighthearted. It does a good job of mixing lighthearted humor with serious action that doesn't, and it doesn't feel cheesy at any point. And it shows and complements the characters. The characters come together, they're butting heads, and they're very entertaining, and it plays up the characters really well, and it really puts the Hulk on the map, makes him very exciting to watch. It shows that really the Hulk as a character needs other people around him to really make him stand out. The Hulk is a little bit like salt. You just need a little bit to really make things pop, right? And the Avengers really plays him up. Loki's awesome. Everybody loves Loki. There's a huge fan base of Loki now because he's just such a great villain in this movie. Captain America is played dead on. I love his dialogue, and I love the way that he and Tony Stark are butting heads and their values, and it's great. So that's my number. My number one is the Avengers, and that's my list. What do you think? Am I crazy? I know you're mad at me for where I put a lot of these movies. Let me know. Let me have it. I don't care. I'm ready. Let me have it. If you this video, I've said this before earlier, but this video is actually meant to be watched on my blog. If you watch on my blog, you're going to see trailers for every single one of these movies. You're going to get to see links, and I'm going to put links to every single one of them too, if they're all nice in a row. And also, while you're there, you could sign up for my newsletter, where if you do so, you could get a digital copy of my Art of book, which if you don't want a digital copy, you could just download, you could just go to Amazon and buy it there. But if you sign up for my newsletter, you get it for free. And in my newsletter, I tend to also write a little bit more about The Simpsons and other things like that. That's it from me today, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, bye.